Hello, I am Paula Bennett and welcome to my New Zealand Herald podcast, Ask Me Anything. The one thing I've learnt in life is it's never too late to learn something new. So on this podcast, I talk to people from all walks of life to hear about how they got to where they are and get some advice and guidance on some of life's biggest questions. The 19th of November 2010 is a day all New Zealanders remember. The underground explosion at the Pike River mine on the west coast of the South Island that killed 29 men. From that tragedy, a friendship grew between two women, Sonya Rockhouse and Anna Osborne, who both lost men that day, Sonya, her son Ben, and Anna, her husband Milton. Together, Anna and Sonya have shown an amazing strength and perseverance to fight for truth and justice. And their story is the centre of a film. It's called Pike River. Anna Osborne and Sonya Rockhouse join me today. Thank you both so much for this time. I really, really appreciate it.
No worries, Paula. Thank you for having us.
Okay, well, should we ease in with some quick fire questions? It might be a little bit. What's the last TV show you binge watched?
TV show I've been Emergency 24/7.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
And you're thinking furiously and not coming up. No room for TV in your life.
Emmerdale.
Oh. There you go. Well, that'll do. Okay, if you could time travel, would you rather go to the past or the future? Oh, that's it. It's for you both.
Definitely the past for me. Definitely.
Yeah, and see those wonderful men again.
Absolutely. If I could, I would. I really would. That would be one of my, oh my God, that would be a dream come true.
Yeah, grab that moment, right? I can understand that completely. Okay, I want to talk about your incredible strength to fight despite personal loss in the second half. But let's first of all talk about this amazing film first. So talk me through how this film came about, and because you first met Rob Sarkis in 2017, did I read? Is that right?
Actually, it was before that.
Yeah.
A few years before that, he was sort of tossing around the idea of doing a movie, but wasn't really sure of the format of it. And then that sort of didn't pan out because there was such a lot going on, and it just appeared that it was not the right time to be doing something like that. So but he always remained, every time we went to Wellington and that, he'd come and have a drink with us and catch up with us. So we'd sort of known him longer than 2017, but it was 2017 when he sort of mooted the idea with us and sort of went from there. Yeah.
Does he tell a story that it was sort of on a road trip with the two of you that he just knew instantly that your friendship had to be the heart of the film? What was that look for?
Oh, look, that was hilarious because we played up to him a bit too. We are pretty we joke quite a lot, Sonya and I, because we have to or else we'd cry, right?
Yeah.
So with Rob being in the back, we played up a little more than what we usually do, and Rob must have been thinking, what the hell have I struck here? But, he probably expected two women to be crying and emotional all the time, but we've been there, done that a lot, and so we sort of changed it up a bit, didn't we? And we gave him a show of our own, and I think he really liked that show because it did give him an insight into the other half of us, which is, we live Pike 24/7, but we can't always be in that moment because it's just too grim and dark and horrible. So we've got I had to give myself permission to smile and laugh again, and it was okay to do that. For a long time I felt like I wasn't able to smile and laugh because I didn't get my husband home and it just didn't feel right. But as time went by, I was thinking, this is just, I've got to start living life and trying to get back some of myself. And so I learned to smile and laugh again with Sonya.
Yeah. And so for the two of you, how remarkable is it that, a film is being made about Pike River, but the two of you are the main characters? But
It's
it's just
very weird.
extraordinary. Yeah.
It's very, very weird. And I remember the first read through that we went to. Anna had not long been told that things were not looking good with her cancer. And so Rob did an early read through. Also, my late husband was also unwell, and so they did an early read through so that if anything did happen with Anna, she would at least know, what it was all going to be about and how it was going to be. And I just about died. I said to Anna several times, I don't do that, or I don't overreact like that. With watching somebody else play me, and I thought, oh, please tell me I do not react like that to situations, but apparently I did. So that was the beginning of us realizing that, holy smokes, our life is going to play out on a big screen, and that's really scary, really scary.
I think, being two ordinary women that were fighting for our loved ones, I think anyone in our position would do the same thing. So we were thinking, what the hell? Why does someone want to make a movie about us? We haven't done anything special. And it wasn't until Rob and a few others said, well, actually, you've done this is a handful, no more than a handful of things. And, not everyone did fight. You two chose to. And look where you've gotten. So, yeah, it's pretty surreal that here we are, two women that barely knew one another 15 years ago are now best mates, and a film's been made. It's crazy.
I also think that part of it, well, I know for me, we had so long of things being told to us, and then at the 11th hour, the rug being pulled out from under our feet, and we just felt helpless. It was just the most terrible thing. And then all of a sudden, we gave ourselves, thank you to Helen Kelly, initially, like she's the one that showed us that we could do anything if we wanted to. And but finally we felt like we had taken some power back. Before that, we had a whole lot of other people telling us how it was going to be, and what was going to happen, and all that sort of thing. And suddenly Anna and I were in control, and so to speak. And even to the media, we learnt how to use the media to our advantage instead of being frightened of the media. And we learnt how to deal with all that sort of thing, and we felt more in control than we had done for a number of years. And that's quite powerful to feel like that. It's quite I want to say healing, but healing's not the right word, but it just gives you that, I don't know, it brought us alive again, because for so long we just felt dead. I mean, to lose people like, Anna losing her husband and me losing a son, you just, a little part of your heart dies.
Of course. And you've got no control, as you say, like there's that feeling of, hope and optimism at some stage that actually there might be some progress made. And then, as you say, that rug's just pulled out from under you, and others are kind of controlling the narrative and where it's heading and what it does. And so what a gift that Helen gave you. I mean, boy, talk about a fighter, and someone that believed and knew how to run a crusade for the right reasons, quite frankly. It would have been remarkable having her come and do that. So I feel like from what I've read, and I haven't had the pleasure of seeing the film, I'm looking forward to that next week, but from that perspective as well, it feels like you've been treated with respect and dignity, and that you've been able to really be a part of your story, because often people write it about you or show it in their way. But talk me through that. So the director, I mean, we're going to get to the actresses shortly, because that's just incredible in itself. But you have been involved from day one, haven't you?
Absolutely. I mean, Rob Saki, he was amazing, to be honest. He uh, invited us along to the screen, the script writing. So, and we've been to two or three versions of the script because it changed a bit when new things came to light. And he flew us up to Auckland or Wellington, and we were able to see actors playing out the script for a while. And then we were able to see the uncut versions of the movie. And we've seen two or three of those. And, you know, we were actually on set when they were filming in Greymouth and up in Auckland. So they invited us along. So it was really quite bizarre seeing Melanie Linsky play me and Robin Malcolm play Sonya. And here's Sonya and I watching them. And that was quite. That was quite, I'd love it. It was a laugh at times, and then it was quite somber at times because they really did do an amazing job.
Mm.
Did they? Did you have advice, or did you go, oh, I just don't think that's quite right? And did they take that advice at any time, or did you feel like, oh, I mean, God, okay.
I don't think we actually said. They a couple of times they asked, or do you, how would you, but they were very. I mean, they're obviously very professional in what they do, and we didn't realize it because this is all new for us. This is completely out of our, out of our comfort zone. And so we met them, and I think the day we met them, we went and had dinner with the two of them. And we were sitting there, and a couple of times I'd look at Robin and she'd be staring at me intently. And it was a bit unnerving, and I thought, God. And then I realized, like, we talked about it, and she giggled. She thought it was funny. That they just studied us incredibly. And so the first time we watched the movie, it was a bit unnerving because I thought, my gosh, like she really has, and I tell a story during the filming where there was a film shoot, my biggest nightmare, I hate the camera, and probably always will. And we had to stand and do these shoots, and there was Melanie and Anna and Robin and myself, and the cameraman said, "Right now, Sonia, turn your head this way," and Robin and I both turned our heads, and then looked at each other and cracked up. Like Robin sort of pointed at me and went, "Oh my God!" She'd gotten so much in my character that she just automatically, when they said my name, she did it too. So yeah, that's how deeply they got into us.
And Mel started limping because I walk with a crutch, and she started limping like I did. And in the end, they decided to flag that and just let her walk normally, But that's how much in character she was until they said, "Get rid of the crutch, don't walk, and just walk normally."
Oh, incredible! And I mean, as you've said, Melanie Linsky and Robin Malcolm. I mean, we are talking legendary. So impressive as actors. Was it? I mean, I'm on 100 episodes of this podcast, and people sort of say, who have you really enjoyed, and what is this, and all everything else, and I just say the only one. I was starstruck by Robin Malcolm. Because I'm a Westie and Outrageous Fortune, and she's just this legend to me. And so, and of course, the warmest and most lovely person, and we've seen each other numerous times since then. But the first time meeting her, I almost wanted to curtsy,
Yeah. Crazy. She's absolutely the loveliest person.
So down to
she's
earth.
Kept in contact with us, and but story. Everyone that knows me says, Sonia's always got a story. When you get to my age, you have lots of stories. Ben was a massive Outrageous Fortune fan, as was I, but he was just obsessed with it. He absolutely loved it, and so he taped the whole thing right to the end so that he could then sit down and binge watch it. And he was killed before he got to do that. And so for Robin Malcolm to be playing me, I mean, when Rob first said, I said, "Oh my God, she's gorgeous, and she's tiny, and she's, this," and he's like, "Yeah, right, perfect." And I was like, "Yeah, because I can see the resemblance, And but I think she did me proud, and as far as Ben goes, he would just be kicking himself knowing that somebody like her was playing, like Daniel was like, Robin Malcolm, oh my God. And the first time he met her, he was like a bit starstruck as well.
Yeah. And Daniel's your other son that was
Yes,
in the mine, but survived. Yeah.
yes, that's correct.
Yeah,
So
just to give a bit of perspective there. I bet Ben, yeah, he will be. He's laughing somewhere, right? And having a beer and going, "Are you bloody kidding me?"
yeah, he would be. And but just on that note, before Anna talks about
Mm,
Melanie, a funny thing when Jacinda came on set as herself. Of course, we've known her for a long time, and she's, we class her as a friend. And so it was just like a friend coming on set. But Robin and Mel were starstruck. We
oh,
couldn't
how
believe
cool!
it because they are the stars. But yet, when Jacinda walked in, I mean, she has got a certain aura about her.
Yeah.
And when she walked in, I said to Anne, "Oh my gosh, look at Robin. She's like all, it was quite funny." So it just shows you it doesn't matter who you are. There's always somebody that's, you're in awe of.
Yeah, which is lovely. So talk to me about Melanie and I mean, by crikey, again, that legendary and someone that I've just got so much respect for. I've never met her, but when you heard that it was Melanie, I mean, did you just kind of take your breath a bit and think about that?
Oh, wow, such a well-known actress, and that it was hard to believe that somebody actually wanted to play me to start off with. As I say, we were just two ordinary women, and to get this movie made about us, we're thinking, now who are they going to get to play us? And when Melanie Linsky was mentioned, we were thinking, what the hell? She's this very talented actress who lives overseas and has got 2.5 men under her belt and Heavenly Creatures and just a stream of all these movies and that Yellow Jackets, isn't it? And
Yeah.
stuff like that. And thinking, wow, somebody actually wants to play me. Mel wants to play me. Unbelievable. So she's very different though. I mean, she's hilarious in 2.5 Men, but I find her to be very quiet in person. She's
Ah,
not
She's very dry, isn't she?
well, yeah,
Her
but
humor is very dry.
Robin is quite an extrovert, and I find Mel a bit of an introvert.
Yeah.
And they balance each other out really well. So Mel's very softly spoken, and where Robin will go at it 100, a bull in a china shop sort of thing. But Mel is very quiet and gentle, and that. And I struggled to start off with, I must admit, thinking, well, I was quite bolshy right the way through with my interviews and the government and stuff like that, because I was really pissed off that progress wasn't made, any progress just didn't happen, and things were being pulled out from under us. And so Melanie, I was thinking, oh my gosh, is she going to do me justice in the movie by being bolshy and everything else? But you know what? She really did a fantastic job. Yeah, I really think you know we couldn't have asked for two better actresses to play
yeah,
us. To be honest. They're
amazing.
both fantastic.
Can we talk about your friendship? Because as you say, you didn't really know each other, did you, before
Not at all.
2010? No, not at all.
Not
Okay.
at all.
And so then you came together in your grief.
It's true. So there's a scene in there that you'll see, and in the courtroom, and that's just spot on. It's 100%. So I was at every meeting. We were driving from Christchurch to Greymouth weekly, and once I left Greymouth and came back to Christchurch.
Because people don't realise that Sonia's actually from Christchurch.
Mm,
I'm the one from the West Coast.
Okay.
so we were sort of going, and we made sure we were at all the meetings and everything. And I do not remember seeing Anna there, and she doesn't remember seeing me. We were just so numb and
Mm.
just, everything was just a blur back in those days. But I think we don't even remember the day that we kind of just talked, but around the Royal Commission, which was April of 2011. yeah, she was sitting in a seat, and I remember seeing her on TV and thinking, "Holy moly, this woman's like, whew, I would like to come across her in a dark alley."
Mm.
Um, because as she said, she was pissed off, as we all were, and we just kind of there was only one seat available, and it was next to her in the Royal Commission, so I sat down there, and that was it. We just kind of clicked, and from then on, every day people knew, don't sit in those seats because they're Anna and Sonia's seats.
Yeah, we'd go out for dinner, wouldn't we? Our
Yeah,
lunch and that at as it break from the Royal Commission, we'd go and have lunch, and we'd sit with each other and get to know one another. And we realised that we had quite a bit in common, to be honest.
Mm.
It was creepy to think that we had so much in common. And so from then on, yeah, our friendship just blossomed, and it's amazing. I couldn't have done this without Sonya.
I think that if we'd tried to do it on our own, we would never have gotten through. But I think because the two of us together, we didn't realize it at the time, but we are actually quite strong women. We've both been through some stuff and managed to, carry on with the rest of our lives as well. And so we had a strength, obviously, that we didn't know was there. And I think the two of us together were a force to be reckoned with. And that's why we've been able to, along with a whole lot of people in the background,
Mm.
of course, helping us. But if you'd have told me back then that we'd have done what we have done, I wouldn't have believed you. But on the
Yeah.
same token, I don't see, and I still struggle, as does Anna, with people saying, "Oh, you've done such amazing things," because to me, all I've been is a mum looking after my son, or trying to look after, and make sure that somebody is held to account, and yeah. So
Yeah,
from
good
my
on you.
perspective, that's all I've done.
Yeah. So am I right that the two of you have matching tattoos, and that after filming, Mel and Robin also got matching tattoos? I just kind of love that.
No, that is correct. Yeah, I actually said to
So they,
Sonia on her birthday, I said, let's go and get a tattoo. And so we did the yin and yang thing, Sonia and I don't know. Oh, where's mine gone? There it is. But yeah, so we both got the yin and yang tattoo. And
oh,
then
that's cool.
Veni, Vidi, Vici, I came, I saw, I conquered.
Robin
Oh, nice.
didn't have a tattoo on her body, and Mel had a couple. So at the end of screening to cement their bond, they actually got
Oh,
two licorice all sorts tattooed on their ankles. And the reason why they had the licorice all sorts is because Sonia and I, and you'll see it in a scene in the movie too, we used to bring lollies and we used to share them around the
oh,
families,
that's special.
the Royal Commission. And so
Yeah.
that's why they chose.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that. I love it. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to sort of talk a bit more about the journey that you've been through and how that's been. Welcome back. My guests today are Anna Osborne and Sonya Rockhouse. I'm going to focus now on the story behind the film and your incredible fight for justice. First of all, though, can I talk about your men? So, Anna, can you tell me about your husband, Milton? Tell me about him.
Oh, gosh, wished he was here.
Yeah.
He gosh, it was 2000 and sorry, I beg your pardon, it was 1991 when we first met. And I really didn't want anyone in my life at that time because I'd come out of a couple of bad relationships, and I just thought, I just don't want to do this again. I'd rather do life by myself than ever be with another man who's abusive and stuff. So when Milk came on the scene and that, I avoided him like the plague. I says, no, not interested. Don't want to go out with you. And he was really persistent, though. He'd come to the pub that I was working at and have a chat and asked me to go out with him, and I refused. And it was one of those things that was really weird that the phone would ring, and if it was after 5 o'clock, I'd get my brother to answer it because he was living with me with his fiance at the time, and knowing that it was probably going to be Milt on the other end. So anyhow,
What,
the phone.
and say that you weren't home or something?
Yeah. So the phone rang at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, gosh knows when, during 1991, and it was Milton. And he says, "Look, I've taken the afternoon off work. I'd really just like to go for a drive with you. And that's all I want." And I says, "Oh my God, he's so persistent. I'm going to go and then just say thanks very much. That was lovely, and go our separate ways." But actually that drive was amazing, and I realized that he was such a beautiful soul, and he was a real gentleman, and he'd open the car door for me, he'd order the meal, he'd pay for the meal, he'd walk on the outside of the footpath for me, and I was thinking, wow, I've never been treated like that.
Oh, I love that.
And my late father turned round after a few more dates with Milton and says he's going to be my son-in-law. And my father really loved Milton.
Oh, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that, Anna. Because I think when we forget. And so, how old was Ben when he passed, Sonya?
He was 21.
Yeah, God, so young, so young. So tell me about Ben. God, he had a big life ahead of him, right? Yeah.
Yes, he had lots of things that he wanted to do.
Yeah.
He was actually leaving Pike.
Ah.
He was going to go and live in Australia. His boss, Josh, was going to take him back to Australia with him.
Ah.
But he wanted to be a paleontologist.
Oh, wow.
It was
As
his
you do.
thing when he was 5.
And we talked about it earlier, but your son Daniel managed to get out and save the life of Russell Smith.
Yeah.
How is Daniel? Tell us about how is he today?
Daniel is okay. He's coming for the Christchurch premiere. He still suffers with survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
He works in the mines in Australia, underground. He's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. We've talked a bit about it, but that fight for justice, and that fuel and that fire within you both, and you have been relentless. Were there times that you kind of just wanted to give up, or it's hard for me and others to really understand, and the complexity of dealing with grief while also being so damned angry, which you had every right to be. Anna, tell me a bit about that.
There was many a time when we just wanted to give up because we just felt like we weren't getting anywhere, and it was horrible because we loved our men so much, and they lost their voice that day, and no one was there to step up and take their place. So we thought, they've lost their voice, we have to be their voices. So we had to put our big girl pants on, really, because it was scary, the thought that we'd have to take on the government and we'd have to take on the justice system and things like that, because we were just ordinary New Zealanders, and the thought of having to deal with politicians and, the justice system itself was quite traumatic for me, actually. I was thinking, no one's going to want to talk to us, no one's going to listen to us. But we got help from so many people who actually wanted us to succeed in what we were doing. And so we got some lawyers on board, like Simon Meikle and the late Simon Meikle, Peter Cranny and Nigel Hampton. And we got Helen Kelly, the late Helen Kelly, but we also got Rob and Tony, who were politically minded and knew what they were doing. And so we got all these people who came on board to help us. And we actually realised ourselves that actually anyone can do this if they have that fight in your belly to do what's right. you will manage to find that strength within and take on the giants.
Wow. And what have you learnt through your advocacy, through that fight? And, what advice would you give to anyone else going through something similar or, really struggling to get that sense of justice and hold someone and really more than just someone to account for what's happened?
Well, I would say never give up. Never give up, because there was times there when we thought that it was all over. They were going to seal the portal, and we wouldn't get the police. The police wouldn't be able to re-investigate the what was down the drift. And through our fight, we were able to stop the concrete trucks from coming to Pike River. And the police were able to re-investigate, and because of that, we now got prosecutions, hopefully likely, where it's in the matter of the Crown Law at the moment. The police very good investigation, and they've passed everything to Crown Law, and it's up to Crown Law to make a decision as to whether there will be prosecutions or not. So we're hoping that we will see those responsible in a court of law for the family's sake, definitely, but never give up.
15 years though, Anna. I mean, man, I've got my fingers crossed for you that you get that, but it just must, the personal toll it must take on you both and the other families, and it's never laid to rest. There's no real closure for you, is there?
No, no one in the families had closure yet. I don't believe. Some of them had memorials for their men and that, but we haven't really been. I haven't actually had a memorial for Milton, and I feel like until he comes out of the mine or we get some sort of closure through prosecution and that I just can't hold anything for Milt. So yeah, 15 years. People don't realise that. For us, we've missed out a whole chunk of the grieving process where, somebody who is dying of cancer, that. So you sit with them, you talk with them, maybe there's a bucket list, so you do the bucket list with them. They pass away, so, you go and see them in the coffin, and then you go and you go to their service and you see the coffin being lowered into the ground. Well, we don't have any of that. We know that our men are dead, but we haven't been able to lay them to rest, and because the 29 are still down in the mine there, so that whole chunk is missing for us, and that's something that we really want, but we'll probably never get. So we've had to, say, well, yeah, we fought our best, we've tried our hardest to get the men out. And that didn't happen. So the best thing we can do now is to keep fighting for justice and hope that Crown Law can see what the police see and bring about a prosecution.
And Sonya, what do you hope comes out of this film? Are you hoping it gives people a better idea of your fight and the injustice that's there? Because I imagine there's a lot of things we're going to learn when we watch it that we just don't know from the what we've read or seen you on TV or, like heard the bits. But actually this is going to tell a much fuller story.
I hope so. That's what I'm hoping, that people will be better informed, because there's plenty of armchair critics, and there's plenty of, it's the old adage of the first thing you hear is the first thing you believe. So if somebody says something on TV, that's what they hear, and anything that's said after that, people don't listen to. So there was a lot of stuff over a number of years that was said that just wasn't true. So hopefully in this movie, people will get a better understanding of what actually did happen, and realise that Hannah and I just weren't on a holiday, sipping cocktails and having a wonderful old time travelling all around the country. That in fact, we were doing a lot of work to try and make things happen. So as each time we've been interviewed, I've said to the whoever was interviewing, did you learn something from the movie? And they all said yes, they were surprised by quite a few things that they saw in the movie. So that's good.
Yeah.
If that's all that comes out of it, then that's fantastic.
Yeah, well, I'm certainly want to watch it and get that fuller picture, and I've just got so much respect, for both of you and picking up and trying to fight for that justice, and I mean that. So finally for the segment, okay, what's the best advice you were ever given, and who was it given to you by? Because I bet, boy, I mean, you've mentioned the incredible Helen Kelly, but yeah, I bet there's some extraordinary people through this that have kept you going.
I think, yeah, never give up. Never give up is a good one, and it's not just come from a few friends and that. The public have got behind us. Not everyone, of course, but there's the majority. We felt like the majority of New Zealand were with us. This fight to start off with. At the beginning, there was just Sonya and I, and then we seemed to get this whole stream of people that wanted to come and help us, and then they all said, never give up, you can do this, and if they could do anything to help, they will. And so for me, it's never give up. Don't be afraid to use your voice, regardless of who you're talking to. It doesn't matter if it's the King or the Prime Minister of New Zealand, use your voice, don't be afraid, and never give up.
Good on you. Good on you. Now, I mean, that's pretty hard to beat, quite frankly, Sonya. and you're nodding and agreeing. So,
I mean, that's one of the last things Helen said to us. We were with her when she was in the hospice and had some very funny moments regarding medicinal marijuana or cannabis oil. But she always said that, and then she got sent home. She went home for a little bit before she passed, and we had to fly back to Christchurch. So we went and saw her, and we each of us went in separately, and she just whispered in our ears, "Never give up. Don't ever give up." And we both promised, and we never will.
Okay, the podcast is called Ask Me Anything, and I've done all the asking, so this is your opportunity to ask me something if you would like to.
Okay, this might be a tough one, but what are your thoughts on corporate manslaughter?
Yeah, I don't know. Doing some of the reading to prepare for, for speaking to you both, you just look and it does feel like there's a mass injustice, and it does feel incredibly unfair. And, there's got to be some way. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I've never held anything with injustice, so I don't understand the nuances of what that might mean and how that plays out. But I can certainly understand your fight for accountability, and that it just really hasn't been there for you. So I know I've kind of given you a politician's answer and not answered it completely, but it's because I don't really feel qualified to be quite frank with you.
Okay, that will do, Paula. I guess. Yeah.
Do I get to ask a question too?
Yes, of course you do.
So do you think now that you're out of politics, that you have a better understanding of the situation at Pike?
I think time has done that. You know what I mean? I mean, I can't even imagine your grief, but there was just so much going on, and it was just so shocking for the whole nation, right? And then, having been in government at that time and trying to and I mean, I wasn't actively involved because I didn't hold the portfolios. That would mean, my role then somewhat was to just make sure that there was financial assistance and we were keeping the families going in that interim and make that process as easy as possible, just from that Ministry of Social Development, and try and help with some of that support around that. So I feel like, and so in that respect, I think it's as well time that you can look back and just actually understand better the totality. And I do feel your frustration, and I probably feel that more now, that decisions were being made without you. and about you and about the men that you love. And it just, from that perspective, I hope that any government and any officials are better at communicating and hopefully have learnt something in how they deal and how they work with families to try and come with some joint. You're not always going to love the decisions that are made and things like that, and I get that in life. We're all adults, but I hope that some lessons have been learnt, that you're not doing it to people, you're doing it with them. And I don't feel like that happened to you well enough in the beginning.
No.
But that's a really good answer, because you're right. It's a really important that everyone is included, and decisions aren't being made without us. That's one thing that did happen at the very beginning, and we've changed that now so that we've been quite strong with the being victim advocates as well. And what came out of that is the people we talked to said that they weren't included in anything, and so they had felt like they had to just sit back and watch their thing play out. But actually, no, you need to include the victims so they don't keep being re-victimized. They want to become survivors. You don't include the victims, they will remain victims. Let them become survivors and include them in things. Give them that power, give them that strength to be able to say and do what they want, and that's going to make them feel a hell of a lot better.
Oh, well, Anna and Sonya, thank you for joining me today. And I think what I've taken from that as well is that something good has come. You have helped other families. You've changed the way that actually in a most extreme situation like that people can actually be, worked with and not at. And I think you've done an amazing job. So I'm absolutely thrilled for you for the film, and all the best for the future. And I hope you get the kind of results that you want as you sort of unfortunately have to keep going through this journey. And that's it for another episode of Ask Me Anything. So if you've enjoyed this episode, please follow Ask Me Anything on iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you check out some of my past guests. Go and listen to Robin Malcolm, because that's a rollicking good fun, I promise you. I'll be back next week. I'm Paula Bennett. Ask Me Anything. Goodbye.